3. There we go. All right. Good morning, friends. My name is Christina Dillabo. I'm the Director of Communications for the Desert Southwest Conference. Today is March 7th, 10 a.m. This is Tuesday Talks with Church Communicators, a weekly broadcasted meeting to talk about what's coming up, and both from the conference, from the church, from the district, all over the place. So today's meeting is slightly different. Let's see here. Today, Billie K. Fidlin, Director of Justice and Outreach for the Desert Southwest Conference, is joining us. She is the original conference staffer focused on grants in support of local church ministries. In addition to that role, she is the president of Arizona Faith Network, president and founder of Whisper and Thunder, Inc. She sits on numerous boards, including the Justice Center and the Phoenix Police Department's Faith Advisory Council. Really, it's no surprise that she is in the 2022-2023 class of who's who in America. This woman knows what's up and has plenty of connections to mobilize a force of nature. It's no wonder that each year she's the person that the Desert Southwest Conference turns to identify and coordinate the annual conference mission project. Billie is joining us today to share an update on Ukraine, Turkey, and Syria, but surprise, there's more. Billie, thank you for joining us today. Per local church request, today's meeting is being recorded and shared with members of the church, so feel free to share about the resources available and let us know how members can be a part of the ministry impact. Billie Fidlin, take it away.
Thank you, my friend. Hello, everybody, and good morning. Some of you I know, and some of you I don't know. Hi, Bob. It's been a challenging day already because my dogs, 2 of them, decided to jump in the shower with me. So if I'm discombobulated, that is why. It's not my fault. It's their fault. Totally. I was not prepared. But anyway, good to be with you all. And thank you, Christina, for that wonderful introduction. I'm real honored by the work that we do with this conference of ours. We are really quite something, and it would do us well to remember just how wonderful the Desert Southwest Conference is. And so with that, I'm going to talk with you essentially about the conference mission projects. I want to give you a tiny bit of background as to how we get there in case anybody asks you. The Sessions Committee is what does the planning of and for annual conference. And in general, throughout these past, count them, 25 years, I think this is my 25th year, 24th year that I've been with the conference, I bring ideas that either clergy have contacted me about, the Conference Board of Global Ministries has suggested, or from my own thoughts. And I bring those to the Sessions Committee and we talk about them. And certainly the Sessions Committee members, which are various leaders, including Christy, of the conference, are free to suggest something as well. In the end, there's that discussion that occurs, and then the bishop usually has the final call, which, is normal, right? And we make those decisions. So I think it was February, we decided February 24th was the meeting of the Sessions Committee, but it was also the 1-year anniversary of the war of Ukraine. And I'm sure that you have been reading the articles that I have published on Ukraine, and I'll talk more about that in a minute, but that was one of the ones that I felt really strongly about just because of the devastation. And we have United Methodist churches in Ukraine. And so it was a very clear connection in my head to make this one of the mission projects. But we tend to have more than one so that people have a choice, or they can, divvy up their donation 3 ways. The second one, which came on the heels of this, as I'm sure you well imagine, was Turkey and Syria. Turkey and Syria experienced essentially 2 groupings of earthquakes. And the first one was, absolutely devastating. It was 7.5 in its magnitude, followed by a very strong next quake. And then just a week later, they had a second strong earthquake. And the devastation there, certainly we see, and we have seen it on television, although if you'll notice, it's gotten much less publicity than what has happened in the Ukraine. And there's reasons for that, and they're political. But anyway, devastating, and I'll talk more about that in a minute. And then the third one, which came up, and I have to say, I want to give credit to Reverend Jen Lauer from Red Mountain United Methodist Church. She had talked to me about this a few weeks or months ago, I guess, is relief for medical debt. And we're going to be working, I think, with a company called RIP Medical Debt Relief. So I want to go back, and I'm just going to kind of, the sessions had agreed with those three by unanimous vote, which was wonderful. And so those are our three mission projects. That basically what that means for you as communicators, we can use all the help that you're willing to give, not only us in terms of communications, but also your pastor in terms of lifting them up on a regular basis between now and June. We'll collect the funds between now and June. People have the ability, as I said, they can either divvy up their donation all three ways, which if it comes in with no designation, that's what would happen. Or they can designate, no, we want I want Billie Fidlin's personal donation to go to the Ukraine. And some churches collect in bulk, other churches just say, folks, this is what we're doing. Here's the link and you can donate, up to you. All good, all grateful. And I would say our conference has a huge history of generosity, even in the most difficult economic times. Last year, we did the scholarship fund for Dreamer students or those who are undocumented. We did the Navajo water relief. That was over $125,000 from our conference. What a joyous celebration. Yes, I agree, Christy. So anyway, all right, going back, Ukraine. I meet with the Ukrainian clergy via Zoom, obviously. It depends on the war and what's going on, but probably maybe every 6 weeks or so. And just a couple of weeks ago, which there's an article on the website already about that last meeting, we met with them and we met together. And so that would be myself, but also there's people from all over the United States that will sit in on this call. And it's with the bishop who they are assigned to, which is Bishop Alstead, the district superintendent of Ukraine. His first name is Oleg, wonderful, courageous man, and then various clergy and sometimes laity. And in fact, during this last meeting, one of the Zoom calls, we could hear the bomb sirens go off, the warnings. And that's how those clergy and those laity are functioning every single day. It is difficult, it is frightening, but yet when you meet with them, this spirit, this overwhelming spirit of bringing God's word to people for sure, but bringing shelter, making migration to the western part of Ukraine possible, making immigration possible to other parts in Europe if the people so desire. And we have a video that we will be showing. Christina has done a wonderful job. We've got an 11.5-minute video. We also have a condensed version that Christina put together that is sub-captioned in English. Just amazing. These people are so strong and so courageous. I have never seen, I think about all the problems we have here and, the things that we all go through and the things that I'm involved with either at the legislature or wherever. And as difficult as those things can be, it's nothing like what these clergy are facing. And I give my heart and soul and every prayer to them because it's tough. Turkey and Syria. We know about the earthquakes that happened. We saw so much footage of the devastation of cities that were literally laid flat, nothing left. We heard various numbers. I think the most recent number was somewhere around 51,000 people were dead, but beyond that, over 4 million are looking for humanitarian assistance in both of those two countries. The fact of the matter is, and I, through my position with the Arizona Faith Network, we have a member from Turkey who represents his particular faith perspective. And he is deeply involved in the recovery efforts. He's in constant contact with people in Turkey, not Syria, but in Turkey. And what he's hearing is that they actually believe the number of dead could exceed many, many hundreds of thousands. And that we're never going to know because the politics in Turkey are not going to allow us to know. They heard about when the recovery efforts in Turkey stopped and they just started bulldozing structures. Well, there were people underneath those structures. They need our prayers. They need our help. Now, both with the Ukraine and Turkey and Syria, UMCOR, United Methodist Committee on Relief, they are working with those countries and this is the important part, with long-standing partners in those countries. So it's nothing new. It's nothing that has just been invented because there was a tragedy. So particular to Turkey and Syria, the partner that we have is called International Blue Crescent, or IBC. And they have worked in those areas for many, many years, long established relationships. It gets through the political pieces that might need to get through. Now, what the dollars will go for in Turkey and Syria are the following: tents, heaters, blankets, clothing, ready-to-eat meals, and then also first aid kits. So that's exactly what the money will be spent on for Turkey and Syria. In the Ukraine, the money is going actually to help economic recovery. They are doing the same things I just mentioned, but they are also isolating economic recovery so that people can build and reopen businesses. Very good efforts, very strong for a positive future on both of those. The third mission project is the medical debt relief. Now, I only know so much about this right now. I actually have a meeting today at noon with their representative. But in long story short, what that is, medical debt is one of the main causes of bankruptcy in this country. People become overwhelmed. There's people that have insurance, but there's a lot of people that don't. And so even with those who are insured, it can be overwhelming. And certainly for those who don't have any insurance at all, it can be devastating. What RIP does is they bring forward, for every $1, $100 of medical debt is relieved. And there's a process that they go through. I'm going to be learning more about that today. But they go through this process, and then, eventually that wields down to the consumer and their debt is relieved. So can you imagine if you were facing losing your home, losing everything you have because you got sick out of no control of your own, and then suddenly someone is there to help? What a blessing. Red Mountain United Methodist Church has already actually done this. That's, again, Jen Lambert. Reverend Jen told me about it. And, we thought, gosh, what could we do if the whole conference got on board with this? Especially when, you look at essentially $10 relieves $1,000 of medical debt. Oh, my gosh. I mean, what a wonderful, wonderful thing we could do for people. So those are the three mission projects. I'm very excited to see what happens this year. We've got a little bit of an economic recovery. Our conference is known to be generous, and I think we can make a huge difference in the lives of people. Please watch. If you go on the conference website, and even in just the search box, if you type mission project, this will all come up. All the articles that I publish will come up. Please share them in your newsletters or verbally or whatever. Anything that I can do, if there's something that you want me to look into that maybe I haven't answered and people are asking you about, or that you have a question about, please just let me know, and I'll do my best to try and find out. What I do know is there are people in this world, as we all know, that are hurting and they need us. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Billie. I'm going to share my screen, but I'm just to demonstrate where you can find the items that Billie's talking about. So if you were to, I don't know if I shared my whole screen or just the, I did, thanks. Okay, so if you were to go to dscumc.org/mission-project, or if anywhere on the website, if you went to news and events and then you went to annual conference, if you go to, in the quick links, mission project, it brings you to that same page. So either way will work, but think of this page as your page as communicators. This is where you're going to look for any resources, articles, images, QR codes for giving, anything that you find on this page. It's collated here for you as the local church communicator to use in your communication channels to amplify this. That's what's here. So if you click on either the header image or the article title, you'll open up the different article. Well, this particular article is that one. So you can copy and paste this into your own newsletter, condense it if you want to for a social media item. What questions do you all have about the resources or for Billie? What do you need?
Christy, if you could go back to that, I'd like to see the banner image because then I can point out District Superintendent Oleg to folks. I would say his last name, but I know that I'll just totally ruin it. So,
There it goes.
and by the way, he sends his greetings. He said to say, send greetings to my friends in the Desert Southwest. So the banner graphic at the top where it says the 3 mission projects.
Right. Trying to see how
I'm pointing like you can.
Yeah, I'm going to go back to it. Sorry.
That's all right.
So I'm just gonna be honest with you.
Go. There we go.
Yeah. Okay. So if you look under the very left image, Ukraine, and you see yes, him. That's DS Oleg. Just a wonderful, wonderful man, and he's doing so much to support his clergy, and it's just something else. Okay. Questions? Anybody got anything for me?
Billie, I want to say hi and
Sure.
to thank you so much for coming today because it's such great, valuable information. It's things like this that are so important that we have trouble getting the information. And I know that you work really hard at doing that, getting it to the people in the pews. So helping everyone understand, those of us, those that log into this and are part of Tuesday Talks, are certainly the ones that get to learn all of these wonderful things that the conference is doing and all of your hard work. So thank you so much for coming. I really appreciate it. I really appreciate all the great information. Plus, I really appreciate you and all the work that you do. It's fantastic. Thanks so much.
Well, thank you. I have to say, the Ukraine piece in particular, because I now have these relationships that thank you, Bob, that I built. It's real hard for me not to cry. Because especially like during that meeting when we heard the bomb sirens go off, it's real on television, but when you're in a meeting and that's what you hear, and just all that they're going through, it's just really, really tough.
It's heartbreaking.
It really is. Megan, did you have a question?
I did. I'm looking. Okay, I'm trying to figure out if the images on the conference website, which I'm currently on right now, are already sized and ready to go, one square for Instagram and then in the correct sizes for Facebook. If they're not, is there any way they can be? That is the easiest way for us to be able to share things on our social media pages. I'm working really hard to get St. Paul's social media page up and running and really good information, and it is really difficult when I am the one that has to kind of create everything and kind of do that. So if there could be something similar to what Resource UMC does for all the special Sundays and whatnot, where they're ready to go, you can download them, and that would be awesome. I would appreciate it.
Yep, you got it.
And if the conference is sharing stuff on their Facebook page as well, if we know about it or anything like that, because I'm happy to share from the conference page. That's an easy post that I don't have to do.
Gotcha. Yes.
Megan, the other thing, my last name is Fidlin, Fidlin. I'm on Facebook, and I have 4 sites because Whisper and Thunder has 3 of them. But on my page, I tend to share quite a bit of conference stuff on my page. While there's like almost 5,000 people that follow me. Many of them are United Methodists, and by the way, not only just our conference, but other conferences, which has its own advantages. But you may find things on there. And then, of course, the other thing is Christy has put together, a ton of pages of my various teams, either in justice or outreach. And if you're not on those, I might suggest you get on them, and then that way you'll get flagged, when we put things, because it just depends on the day. Like when a bill came out of Alabama a week ago to make the AR-15 the national gun of America. That was on my page, mainly because I had an opinion. It wasn't a good one.
Yeah, no, I think I'm a part of a lot of the conference Facebook pages, both as a personal member and the church as a member. I try to share, because we're wrestling with the trying not to be too political to really alienate some people, but not political to alienate the other. We're walking a fine line. So I try to share things directly from the conference or the jurisdiction or whatnot on the church's Facebook page. So things on the conference page would be great, but I will keep an eye out on your Facebook page as well. I appreciate that.
Yeah. And I know that's hard. And I know you guys walk, we all do. We walk a really fine line. I think because I'm getting close to retirement, I'm getting in the not care mode on my own page on Facebook, it's just, so, and then Christina will call me up and say, now, Billie, but, those are how things go. But yeah, it is a fine line. And please know, not just me, all of the staff, we really do appreciate you all, because we do understand you can get in hot water just like that. It's a miracle, isn't it? And so we do, please, I was thinking this morning about unsung heroes of the conference. You all are some of them.
Amen. So yes, thank you, Megan. I am going to work on the resizing these images for Instagram and Facebook, Twitter. What else is coming down the pike? Billie mentioned those videos. We're just trying to get them finalized right now to make sure that they're ready to go, and we didn't cut, because they're in another language that I don't speak.
They're subtitled.
Yeah, they're subtitled. Yeah. So you can, it's sometimes when you're doing video editing, and I'll be brief with this, you want to just get this clip of that sentence and add it to this one so that it really condenses it. That's impossible with this one, because I don't know when a word finished and when the next, so that's why she's talking about the videos that are created, but they're not quite ready to share. We're just trying to do the last minute touch-ups to make sure that they're all set. And I wondered about, I think that condensed video is 3.5 minutes. It might be 4 minutes. I don't remember. Is that too long? Would there be a scenario where your church could play a slightly longer video, maybe in a small group setting or during worship? And if that's the, I saw Chris already nodding, yeah, 4 minutes is too long. So is there any scenario where you'd be able to use a 4-minute video? I'm going to try to keep looking to see where can we shorten it even more. So, because we want you to be able to use it, but maybe you also don't even need it, and we'll just use it at annual conference. So that's totally fine too. I'm just trying to figure out what would your church actually use to help with the publicity.
I think with the short version, you should know a lot of that video, the whole video, the 11 minutes, a lot of it is showing what they're doing. So you're going to see shelters that have been set up, supplies that have been collected, and so forth. There's also testimonies from the various clergy as to how they have chosen to react in a time of war. One thing about the Ukraine, especially the major cities such as Kyiv and other places, those cities look like New York City, and they've been decimated. It really brings it home as to what could happen to America. So I do think, if you can talk somebody into letting them play the video, but I think too, Christy, that there are certain portions I could see where it goes fade to black. They could just fade to black. But there's like a war image at the very beginning. I don't know if there's a war image, and then there are a couple images of elderly people who have been displaced that rip your soul apart. Other than that, it basically is showing the mission that they're doing. But the words are powerful, even as subtitles.
Okay, well, if there's anything else that you all think of, there's maybe a specific question about the ministries or updates for Billie, you've got her email address, you can email her. If there's another request for, this size isn't quite right, or can you make a space so that I can overlay my church's logo? Any of those things, let me know, because if you're needing it, other churches could probably use it too. Megan, you had another question or comment?
Yeah, I was just wondering if the video that you all are talking about, if it is only about Ukraine, or if it's about all three projects, or are there plans to make videos about each of the projects?
This video is only about Ukraine. Christy, I'll leave the rest of that to you. I don't have any personal plans right now for more video.
Potentially, as that's a great idea to have one video that has information about all three. We could do that. I just got to think about how that would work out. But yeah, what would be the ideal length for something like that? Would you use it for social media or as a worship, like here's the mission moment, give now?
So I would imagine that here at our church, it would be ideal to have something 3 minutes or less about all three of the mission projects, to be able to play in worship. I'm happy to share a longer one on our social media pages. That's definitely not a problem. With there only being a video about Ukraine, which is great, it almost seems like we're really hyping up Ukraine and the other two are kind of not as important. And so I don't know that I would want to share the video about Ukraine without there being other things coming for the other projects, because I would want to make sure that, if we've chosen three of them, they should kind of be equal, and they're all very important.
I think
and that's coming from me personally and me as a church communicator.
Understood.
I am really identifying with the medical debt one because it's something that helps locally, and I feel like that we always give money globally as people, like, oh yeah, we're going to help those kids in Africa, but to see something that's going to help locally in our own cities, states, neighborhoods, is really important to me and a lot of people my age. So
yeah, and remembering that the last two were conference essentially oriented, both the Navajo Water Project and the scholarships. Christy, it would be easy to film Jen Lauer talking about the medical debt. And the only thing, I'm not going to get any footage out of Turkey, I guarantee it.
No, but we could do a video showing, like even just of you talking about it and showing images, about all three. So,
well, and I think my connection here, my Turkish connection here from Arizona Faith Network, Mustafa, we also might be able to film him. So I think we can make this happen, Megan. And you're right, it would be, I don't look at it in terms of preference necessarily, but I do think that you're right, that it would be great to have videos of all three.
Go ahead, Sherry.
Megan said something that I caught real quickly that I think is really important, that she talked to, a lot of things she said were important, Megan. One thing she said was her age group. So what if we explored, you're looking at all of this, what if you're exploring this from an age demographic as you're putting something together, then even giving that to the churches for those that have a communication liaison within their church, it may be something that we help them know how to be able to take that information and use that. Megan, I really appreciate that you said that we look at it with a different lens and look at it in ways that we can use that to be able to help the church, where we're looking at ways to draw more in. But boy, I think Megan would be a perfect person to pick her brain and look at that kind of lens to be able to do that, to provide programs or looking at something like that. Anyway, I didn't want to let that slide by because I thought that was incredibly important. So thanks, Megan. I thought that was great.
It is important as long as it's not either or. It's got to be both and, my demographic counts too. And, sometimes we place so much emphasis on youth and young adults, et cetera, that the seniors are kind of left behind, and we have to address all of it. It can't be just the seniors. It can't be just, youth or young adults. It's got to be all of it. And we can do that. We can do that.
Awesome. Thank you so much, everybody. Megan, you have another?
I was just going to say, thanks, Sherry. I appreciate that. That I thought I said something wrong. I was really like, oh no, what did I say?
No.
I have to head out for a staff meeting, so I'll catch any recording or the recap. So thank you. I appreciate it.
You're awesome, Megan. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so if there's no other questions, that's basically all I wanted to share. It's a huge. Oh, go ahead, Sherry.
Sorry, I noticed when you were pulling up those pages, just my own, and that I just happened to notice that the information is up there to sign on, to get signed up or register for the annual conference.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know that everybody has caught that, but for those churches that have newbies within them that don't know that they need to jump in and start looking at the hotel reservation and things like that. So I think that's important to get that out there for the communicators that are here anyway, or the folks that are there, that it's time to start looking at that, especially if you want to get the hotel room that's right next to it or things like that. So I just noticed that it was up there. I wanted to bring it up. Thanks, Christina.
Thank you so much. So I'm going to share my screen one more time so that you see what we're talking about. So if you were to, sorry, here we go. If you went to the news and events section and went to annual conference, you land on this page. Here's where people can register for annual conference, whether they are the lay members to annual conference, clergy, an observer, whoever. This is a registration form for that, for both in person and online. And I want to make sure you notice there are deadlines. So if they register before the 15th, it's going to be $150. After that, it goes up to $175. After that, for the late registration, it's $199. So thank you so much for calling attention to this, Sherry, because that's something important that you're going to want to share, especially with those people that are required to be at annual conference. That is all of your clergy and your lay members to annual conference. That's the delegates. Often people get confused and think, oh, our church lay leader has to register. No, that's not the case. It's the people that you voted to represent your church to vote on any legislation that comes up at annual conference. They're the ones that have to attend, whether it's online or in person. And for those people that are going in person, here's the hotel reservation link. And there's a deadline for that one as well, which I don't see here. Where is it? All right. Well, it's in one of the articles here it is, that was published. The special rate of $116 per room is good until May 23rd. There's no wiggle room on that. The hotel is not willing to work with us any space beyond what the agreed time frame was. So that one's important too. And then real quick, don't forget to register for the upcoming Start With Why leadership talk. That's going to be really helpful for all you communicators, but anyone in your church leadership that has to get people energized, motivated, coordinated to move in a certain direction. Here's why we're doing this. This is why it's so important to me as your leader. This is why it should be important to you. And how do you identify, all that stuff. Our fabulous communication commission chair, Sherry Hull, will be leading that conversation. You could find that registration by going to the conference calendar, clicking on that date, and there you'll find the registration form. It's free. It's in the evenings. It will be recorded and available afterwards on the conference website, but there's nothing like attending live. They're usually about an hour long. Sometimes it might go, I don't know that I think one time it went up to an hour and a half, but that's when it's the hard end. So it's not hours and hours and days, but it will be so worth it. Please be sure to register and attend that. Okay, everybody, thank you again for joining me. Yeah, Billie, go ahead.
William asked, where is the video accessed?
Oh, it will be, once we have it ready to go, it will be available on that dscumc.org/mission-project page. That's where you're going to find all your mission project resources. But we'll also end up creating an article that talks about it and shares it. It'll be in the weekly digest when it's available, with a note about available for local church use. It's going to be available on that page both as a download so that you can just publish it on your own in your, however, for worship, for social media, but we'll also have a YouTube link. So if you rather just share it, and of course we'll be sharing it on Facebook as well.
Thank you.
Yep. Thank you, everybody. I guess that's it for today. I thank you so much for joining us. Thank you, especially Billie. She's super important and always busy in meetings after meetings. So thank you, thank you. But that doesn't mean she's not accessible. If you've got questions for her, send them to Billie Fidlin.